Hello everyone, today we're going to do a pot roast in a slow cooker. I'm going to go over the ingredients real quick. I got my pan nice and hot. It's almost getting too hot, so we have to hurry up here. We got onions and mushrooms that we're going to saute up first. We've got about 3 pounds of chuck roast. We have some flour for dusting and thickening the sauce. We've got a little bit of a couple tablespoons of tomato paste. I've got 2 cups of broth made with better than bouillon beef stock. I'm going to use a couple cups of Cabernet wine, and definitely try to get a good Cabernet. If you wouldn't drink it, don't cook with it. Try to get a decent brand of wine when you cook. For the spices, I've got about maybe a tablespoon and a half of dried thyme. I've got a couple sprigs of rosemary, and at the end I'm going to put in some fresh chopped parsley. Down in here in my slow cooker, I've got a couple carrots and celery chopped up. I chopped them up kind of rough sizes. Don't cut them too small, or they're just going to cook down and fall apart. So they're going to be in there for about 6 hours. So I just sort of made a little bed for the beef to lay on. Now what I've done with the beef here is I've salt and I've peppered it, and I press it in a little bit. That way it won't stick to the pan and fall off in the pan. We also put a little flour in there to help it brown, also helping to thicken the sauce. So pat that in as well. I'm going to do the other side in the pan, so let's get it going. This is probably going to smoke up pretty good. Maybe even too much, but we'll see how it goes. Oh no, we're good. Now, when you're browning your meat, you want to make sure you set it in there and don't move it. Let it sit there for a good 4 to 5 minutes to get a nice good brown char on there. And that's the proper way to do that. Here again, I'm going to get this other side ready so it'll be ready to flip. So again, don't keep checking it, don't keep moving it. Just let it go for about 4 to 5 minutes and get a nice good char on there. That'll give the sauce a good flavor and a good dark color. So that's real important. Alright, I'll be back when I'm ready to flip this. I'll show you what it looks like then. Okay, so it's been about 4.5 minutes. I had to turn the fan on. I apologize if it's too loud, but it's starting to get a little too smoky in here. And there we go. Maybe a little dark in the middle, but right about there. That little brown won't hurt a thing. As it softens up and cooks in the over the 6 hours, I think it'll be just fine. So let that go. On the other side for another 4 minutes, 4.5, look like it might have been a little too long. Again, if that does burn, don't worry about it. It's not going to hurt too much. You'll never notice it in the stew. So we're going to do the same thing, and then we're going to take it out. I'll show you what we do next. But we're going to take it out, throw it on there, and then we're going to do up the onions and mushrooms in the pan. Deglaze the pan with some wine. Put the broth and the tomato sauce in there, put it all together and get it cooking. Okay, so it's been another 4 minutes. Go ahead and place the meat in there. It's going to be a kind of a tight fit, but I think it will be fine. Yeah, there we go. Fits like a glove. Now in this pan here, we want to get the mushrooms and the onions going. And basically what you want to do is just get some browning on there, get some color going. I've already sprinkled them with a little bit of salt and pepper. So we just want to cook these down a little bit, and like I said, get some color on them. And I'll be back for this is going to take about 4 or 5 minutes, so I'll be back for the next step once we are getting close. Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes. They're all browned up. I'm going to use about 2 cups of Cabernet wine. And just sort of try to deglaze that pan. You don't want to put the broth in yet or put too much wine in. You still want it bubbling. So it bubbles like that, starts to deglaze that pan and get a lot of flavor up off the bottom of the pan. So keep that in mind. And once you think you got most of it, go ahead and pour your broth in. Bring that back up, and I'm also going to add the tomato paste. About 1 tablespoon and a second, about 2 tablespoons. Again, I'm adjusting my proportions just a little bit, as I'm putting this in a 5-quart, much bigger piece of meat as well. So I just gotta kind of eyeball it a little bit here. Once this comes up to a light simmer, what I want to do is just put in a little flour to help the sauce stay thick or thicken up as it cooks. Just get this up to temperature so you can cook out some of the flour taste, and I'll be right back for that step. Okay, so there you go. You're getting it up to a boil now, so I'm just going to put a little. Theoretically, I probably should have put this in before the liquid. Probably would have been safer. In the end, though, I don't think it matters. It's not going to matter that much after it cooks for 6 hours. It's not going to make that much of a difference. But it definitely would have been easier. But we'll let that cook down. And we're just going to take this. Let's go ahead and put our spices in. And rosemary and thyme. And that's ready to go. This pan is hot. I probably shouldn't be trying to do this with one hand, but I'm going to pour it all right in over the meat. I'll have to scoop the rest of that out. That's a pretty heavy pan. I actually had to borrow this from my brother to brown the big piece of meat there. I do like it. I might have to get big old cast iron for myself. Don't use it that often, but when you need it, you need it. So that really did a good job browning the meat. So I'm going to go ahead and put all this back in here, get it ready. I'm going to set this up to, we want to cook it on high, and we want it at 6 hours, so we're good right there. And we'll be back to check on it maybe in 3 or 4 hours. Okay, so it's been about 6 hours, and I'm just going to pull a few pieces out here. And if you're noticing, I did not put potatoes in this recipe. The reason being is that I wanted it to go with some homemade mashed potatoes. So that's why I made this recipe the way I did. So I'm gonna probably freeze the rest of this and make homemade mashed potatoes every time I redo this recipe. And the gravy is a little thin. I can probably take everything out and thicken it up if I want to, or just leave it the way it is. It's not that bad. But there you have it. Homemade pot roast in a slow cooker with homemade mashed potatoes on the side. I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching.